Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron.
I know it's hard to believe, but iron sharpens iron. You can't stay small and expect the world to know you.
If you want to build something big, hard work is the first, second, and third part of the formula.
This is Iron Sharpens Iron.
Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits.
Sharpen your skills.
The number one enemy for you is complacency.
Every person right now who's listening who says this stuff doesn't work isn't actually doing it.
You're listening to Iron Sharpens Iron.
What up, Vivint Special Sunday Edition, Leadership Edition. I got two super exciting announcements to make. The first one is going to be our Leadership Boot Camp, and then we're going to talk Masterclass 313. And then I'm going to give you a leadership principle that I've lived by my entire career. So let's talk about the boot camp first. What the Leadership Boot Camp is designed for, it's going to be a twice-a-month leadership boot camp. We have all kinds of sales training at Vivint. We don't do much in the leadership personal growth space. So what we're going to do is we have super talented people at Vivint that know a lot about building culture, time management, working around family, public speaking, real estate. We know people in social media, personal growth, branding. We're going to take all the experts at Vivint and we're going to put them on a leadership boot camp. They're going to be about 60 to 90 minutes, probably closer to 60, twice a month on Thursdays. Now, who should attend? These are people that, obviously, if you're here and you're watching, you're going to want to attend these boot camps. But if you're trying to recruit somebody, get them on the boot camp. If you have somebody in your team, you've already signed somebody to work at Vivint, get them on the boot camp. If you have a parent that doesn't want their student to work for us, get them on the boot camp. They come to these boot camps and they learn these life skills. The way I think about it, if they're students, this is going to be the best class they take all semester. If they're a non-student, graduate, and making money, they're going to want to come to these boot camps because they're going to learn how to get more out of themselves, what to do with their money, what to do with their career, how to think beyond just selling. So these boot camps are my secret sauce. I get asked all the time, how did I build all the sales organization I've built? I gave them information, I gave them training that nobody else in the world was giving them. They'd go to school and not learn the truth about what to do with money. They'd go to school and not learn the truth about how to public speak or how to train or how to teach or how to work hard. So I figured I would just provide that with them and use all the resources that were available to me to do that. And by doing so, I have found that the culture and the attitude of the people that I worked with, these boot camps were the glue to all of that. If you're in a recruiting battle and you're trying to get somebody to come work for Vivint, keep them coming to these boot camps. They don't need to work for Vivint to come to these boot camps. Just get them on, right? Again, they're twice a month on Thursdays. They're about 60 minutes. They jump on, they learn something. They're going to think, man, that was great. I want to come back next week. I want to come back next month. And then eventually they're going to realize that nobody else in the industry, nobody else in the space is giving this kind of content to their people. So there's that saying, right? What if you spend a bunch of money and train people and they leave? And the other answer is, what if you don't spend the money and you don't train people and they stay? We're going to train not only you, but we're going to train anybody that we want to recruit and we want to bring onto the team. So we're going to get the promotional material out to you so you'll have it so you can know when these calls are. They're probably going to be on Zoom. I don't see everybody coming into Utah, so we're going to do it nationwide. They're going to be on Zoom or some kind of digital platform. You're going to want to get these people on, and in fact, on a month-to-month basis, you should know, okay, I had 5 people on in October, I had 7 people on in the second one in October, and then eventually we get to March and we have 1,000 people on these leadership boot camps because they're so valuable. So these will grow in size. I have a goal to have 1,000 people on these boot camps. 2021, we have huge goals at Vivint, and I believe this is one exciting piece of those goals. Now, the second thing I want to promote, I'm super excited about, it's Masterclass 313. I've wanted to do this for a long time at Vivint. It just hasn't lined up timing-wise to get it done, but this year we're going to do it. The Masterclass 313 is going to be designed for 30 extremely motivated people that want to grow their business 2 to 3 times in 2021. There'll be sophomores in this group, there'll be third years in this group, there'll be veterans, there'll be regionals. Shoot, if you're a partner and you think this would be a good thing for you, apply, right? You can apply like anybody else. The purpose of the masterclass is to develop a culture of leadership and growth that will redefine what sales leadership is here at Vivint. Those selected would need to understand that it is their duty to share everything that they learn with anybody and everybody. This isn't an exclusive club to make it private. It's an exclusive group so we can do it, because it's impossible to do this for 200 or 300. So we're going to take 30 people who go through an application process, who get interviewed, who get selected, who are fully committed. And then we give you this information, this human transformation information to make you an incredible leader. And then your job is to go back to your groups and give it away, right? It's being given to you, so you're going to want to give it away. So who should apply? If you have a fire in your belly that you know you're not tapping your true potential, right, you need to apply. If you have this sick fire in your belly that you think you can do more on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, but you need some structure, you need somebody to push, you need some accountability, you should apply. If you think you can 2 to 3x your business, or more importantly, if 2 to 3x your business is terrifying to you, you should apply. Because if you don't think you can 2x your business, we're probably not going to accept you after the application process. You might not believe it, but I believe it. I believe any organization in Vivint, if you follow some of these tools that we're going to go in Masterclass 313, that you will double your business. I've done it before. I've done it with people here at Vivint. And those of you who are listening, you know who you are. So you can apply us also. Let's do it again. If you're fully committed, right? Not everybody's going to make it. I don't want to compare this to BUDS and the SEAL training, but think about 75 hard. That exercise, we all can do it. Nothing is hard. It's not hard to exercise, not hard to drink water. It's not hard to do personal growth. It's not hard to read, but it's hard to do every day for 75 days because it takes discipline. We're going to have that kind of mentality. We're going to give you really simple things to do on a weekly and monthly basis that if you do them, you'll 2x your business and really find this true human transformation. If you want to experience what that is, right? You look at the people who've grown at Vivint or people who've grown in your life, who they were and who they are two different people, right? Masterclass 313 is going to be designed to strip down to the bare bones of what your fears are and why you're not achieving your true potential, and then we build on those skeletons. I think of Lance Armstrong, right? When he got cancer, his body got weak and he lost all the muscles. He was originally a triathlete, so there was some things about his body and his muscles that didn't make him the best cyclist, but when he had no more muscles, when cancer basically almost killed him, and he was able to rebuild his body, he rebuilt it properly. That's pure human transformation. We're going to find where you are as a leader. We're going to strip you down. We're going to build it back up, and you're going to come out this tremendous human that can impact others. Pioneers, right? You will be a pioneer. Masterclass 313 for 2021 is class 1. Whether we can do 2 classes in a year, I don't know, but I know we can do a class every year. So I'm thinking 5 years from now, we're at Masterclass 313.5, and it's the 5th class. They're going to look back at class 4, class 3, class 2, class 1, and you're going to see everybody who went through the program and transformed, which is why we have an application process and an interview, because if I don't believe you have what it takes to come into this program, you probably won't make it, right? Because we want examples. We want human examples. People to point to and said, hey, that person was at 80 accounts and 200 accounts in their downline, and they went out and did 200 and 2,500 accounts. Here's what they did. They went through this program. We want people fighting for this program. We want resources so we can double the size of this program. But first, it's going to be Masterclass 313, 30 people. We are looking for people who are ready to give up who they are today for who they want to become as a leader. So we'll accept 30 individuals. They will participate in at least one group session a month, right? All 30 people on a group call. I have some outlines I'm not going to share with you now, but it's going to be an intimate group call using technology so they can be anywhere in the United States. We're going to have groups within the groups, all kinds of things. So it's at least one call a month, hopefully 2 calls a month. Then additionally, right, we'll have an individual coaching call. Each of the 30 individuals get a coaching call with myself, right, where we go through your business plan, we go through your development program, we go through your reentry plan, all the things that we're going to do. We're going to review assessments, we're going to review 360s, we're going to go through who you are as a leader and who you want to become, and we do that individual coaching. The standards will be high. Right? So this is not one of those things where I send out the calendar, you get accepted, I send out the calendar, here are the 8 dates, and you call me and go, yeah, I can't make that date. And then I want to say, well, you can't be in the group. Now, it might be a wedding, right? Obviously, if things come up, funerals, things that are worst case scenario that come up that we have to kind of account for, but you need to look at the dates and look and say, I'm going to commit to all those dates, which means if family's going on vacation, you might, and the call is during the flight, you might have to take a different flight or go a day later. We've all made those commitments. I know I made those commitments when I was young in my management career to do what I was supposed to do when I was supposed to do it so I could do what I want to do when I want to do it, and that takes commitment. So the standards will be high for these 30 individuals. You can apply by texting the word apply to Emma. Who is Emma, you ask? Emma's our training concierge. Emma's the person who just texted out the link to this recording, the link to all our Iron Sharpens Iron podcast. Text Emma the word apply, and what will happen is you'll get the application process automatically sent to you. The process, the application is probably 20-25 questions. It's going to take some time to do it, so take it seriously, go through it. Then you and I will have an interview. All applications are due on 9/17. And announcements will be made 9/20. It's not going to be this huge public announcement. There's going to be private here. I'll give you a call, send you a text. Congratulations. Welcome to Masterclass 313. And our first group session will be on October 5th. Now, this isn't one of those things where we rub in people's face, right? This is about learning and paying it forward, right? If you've listened to anything I've ever recorded, I have a vision of positively impacting the life of others to change the course of history. I want to positively impact the life of these 30 individuals, and your job is to then go positively impact everybody and influence everybody that you come across, and then we together as a group changed the history of Vivint. So that's what I'm excited about. So today, I want to share one of my first leadership principles. Leadership philosophy, do right by people. What does do right by people mean to me? When you hire somebody, right, depending on each position has a shelf life, right? If you're hiring somebody for an entry-level position and you're not honest and real with them about what this position really is, something to the effect of, look, this position is probably a 12-month, 18-month position, and if we don't develop you or you don't develop to a point where you advance to something else at the company, then I have failed and you have failed. So what is it that you really want to do, right? Why did you want to work here? Why did you want to come to work with me? Where can I take you 18 months from now so you and I know what success looks like? You know, recruiting, do right by people. I think of a recruit named Blake. Blake was the best friend of probably one of the best sales reps I've ever trained. The sales rep brought him into me to recruit him to come work for us. So we went into my office, we shut the door, and I said, hey, Blake, tell me about what's going on? He's like, I just graduated from college. Tell me about college, right? He just kind of shared everything with me. Well, Blake happened to be the #1 golfer on his golf college team, and then he went to work at a golf course. And he comes in, I go, what do you really want to do? He's like, I'd love to go play tournaments and try to qualify for the tour. Well, why aren't you doing that? Well, these tournaments cost $1,000. I don't have the money. I don't make that much money. And I'm like, okay, well, how did you pay for college? Well, my dad paid for college. Okay, well, who pays for your car? My dad pays for my car, pays for my insurance. Well, your cell phone, my dad pays. What about your rent? Well, my dad helps me out with that also. So I said, let me get this straight. Your dad pays and helps pay for many things in your life that are unimportant to you, but you won't let him contribute to the thing that is most important to you, right? And at this point, you can see it hit him. And we ended up talking about steps to go take to go pursue his dreams. So Blake ended up leaving. I come out and the sales rep looked at me like, how did it go? And I said, he ain't gonna work here. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I told him to go follow his dreams. That's do right by people, right? Then I would follow up with Blake from time to time via text message. Hey, did you book any tournaments? What's going on? And it got him in the right direction. I haven't talked to Blake in 4 or 5 years. I don't know where that ended up, but I know it was the right thing to do at the time. That is what I mean by do right by people. I also think about the promises you make people, right? On hey, come work with me or come be involved with me. We have an individual who's standing right here. His name's Zach Heiner. He's on our video team. He's on our training team. Zach was a sales rep, put himself through school. He's got a family, graduated as a software engineer. I said, hey, come work for me. You got door-to-door experience. You know what we need on the training side. We'll get you in a position someday in the software side at Vivint. Literally 2 or 3 months into working here, I see a post on LinkedIn from somebody in our innovation team that they have software engineer positions available. It was late at night. I took a screenshot. I texted Zach and I go, probably not the best timing for me, but I wouldn't be doing my job and I wouldn't be honoring our agreement if I didn't let you know these positions were available. And I sent him the screenshot. His response to me was what do right by people means. He's like, we haven't accomplished what we needed to accomplish yet. I'm not ready to go do that. When you do right by people, even if they leave you when the time comes because you push them in the direction they're supposed to be in, it won't be a surprise. And in fact, many times they'll find their replacement. They'll even train their replacement. And if you have constant conversations with people about where they want to be and your job is to help them get there, yes, you're going to lose some really talented people. But you know what? You're not going to lose them. They're going to be part of your network forever. They're going to connect you with resources and people in the future that you're going to end up working with. You know, I think of what you want to do in life, right? People go to school to be software engineer. People go to school to be in finance. You know, when I was 4 years old, 5 years old, I remember I wanted to be a fireman. Everything I had was fire truck red, right? And then I started playing sports. I wanted to be a professional baseball player. Well, that ain't going to work out. Then I go to college. What do I want to do in college? I don't know. I went as an electrical engineer. And after about 18 months of doing engineering calculus and engineering physics and chemistry and everything else, I realized all I like to really do is take apart electronics and put them back together, right? That wasn't an engineer. And so then I found business, so I switched to business. And it was, I was a product of the 80s and so in the 90s, and so Wall Street, right? I want to be a stockbroker. That was huge back then. So I got back to school, got into finance, got into statistics, got all that, got an internship at Merrill Lynch. Was a senior, going into my senior year, and I needed a summer job. So I got a job in sales. right? I had plans to go work at Market Street in San Francisco, but I love sales, right? I'm no longer playing sports. They're giving me trophies. They're recognizing me. I mean, this is amazing. So I go into sales, and I go into sales management. So I went from being, I want to be a firefighter, to a baseball player, to an engineer, to sales management. What happens is people make a decision of what they want to do because they have to. And then what happens is they end up working through something until they find what's passionate to them. I remember walking into the gym, going into my senior year in college. I had one more year of eligibility. I had a bunch of sales appointments lined up for the day. My dad was a high school teacher, so I had a key to our small town gym. I unlocked the door. I opened it. It was cold. It was dark. I turned on the light. I looked at all the equipment. I've been here a million times before, and I simply didn't want to work out. I realized right then there was nothing left for me to prove on the soccer field. I was going to go ride the bench for a Division II, decently ranked team, but I wasn't going to do a lot of playing time. What I really want to do is go sell. So I literally shut the door, got in my car, drove home. My dad looked at me and said, "What's going on?" I was like, "It's time to do something else. I'm done playing." And he was shocked, but he supported me. And then I went out and sold. So people's paths will change. So just because somebody comes in and you're hiring them or you're training them and they tell you that, "Hey, I want to go be XYZ," well, don't treat them like they're going to leave you. Treat them and help them to get there. I remember the mistake I made with a gentleman named Scott. Scott came to me, went to a private high school, private college, had this dream to go be an NBA official. And he was coaching, he was officiating some junior college games when he was in college. And so I always treated him like somebody that was going to leave. Yeah, I gave him support, we developed, we trained him, I treated him on the day-to-day, but I never saw him as a long-term piece of my organization. I got a promotion, I moved to Southern California. Scott ended up going to work for another manager. That manager saw him differently, and he ended up being a 10-year leadership vet in that space. And that was the lesson that I learned about it's okay for people to come in with vision. My job is to help them to get to their vision. And what ends up happening sometimes is they change what they really want to do because they're passionate about working with you. So that's what do right by people means to me. People pick a path because they're supposed to, but they don't always stay on that path. Your responsibility is to push them up or out, and not to hold on to them because they're talented, right? If you know somebody is super talented on your team and they could be making more money doing something else, your job is to tell them to go do something else. Now, they may fire back with you and say, "You know what? It's not about money for me. I love working here. I love working with you. I love everything we do with the team." And they may choose not to do that. Their spouse may work. They may be independently wealthy. They may have side gigs. They may do all kinds of things that you don't know about. Chances are not, because you have built a good relationship with them, so you know all these things. They'd rather go do something else on the side, invest in real estate, do a side online business to make additional money to justify staying and working with you because you provide them the proper leadership. Some jobs aren't meant to work forever, so you have to accept the fact that doing right by people. Now, I can go the route of doing right by my kids, and I do this with them, and doing right by strangers on the street, but this is about sales retention, leadership philosophies at the work front. Salespeople, for example, sometimes you'll have somebody 4 or 5 years in the space, and they've eclipsed the same number 3 or 4 years in a row, making an average or below average rate for your industry. And you go to them and you try to push them up, or you try to push them out, and they go, "Look, I'd rather make 80 grand here and work with this team than go make 90 grand somewhere else and have a bad experience," right? So keep that in mind when you're pushing people in the right direction. It is our obligation to grow people. It's not to hold them down. And if you find yourself not doing the right thing for somebody, shame on you. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about adult confirmation. My wife was raised devout Catholic. I was baptized, but never really went to church and all that stuff. She wanted to get married in the church, so she wanted me to go through adult confirmation. And of course, I love her family. Said, "Absolutely, you have to be my sponsor." And so she was my sponsor, and we went through the entire process. Now, I'm the person at adult confirmation that's going to ask all the questions that you don't want people to ask. But I was pretty good, and she always elbowed me or grabbed my leg. But I remember on the last week, we were talking about a scenario of you're applying for a job, and you've just happened to find out that your best friend is applying for the job. And you have to write an essay. And so you both write an essay. Your best friend comes to you and says, "Will you read my essay?" And so the question is, if you read the essay and you see the faults and the flaws, what do you do? And so there was about 8 or 9 people in this adult confirmation, and I sat kind of at the 6 o'clock spot at the table. And by chance, they started at the 5 o'clock spot and went counterclockwise. So I was going to go last. And I watched 8 or 9 people that were far more religious and far more devout throw their friends under the bus, things like, yeah, I would do a couple edits, but I would say, look, I need the job, man, and so I don't want to do that. Like every excuse in the world they could think of as they went around the table, and every person that went, my wife's hand on my knee squeezed harder because she knew this was pissing me off. And finally it gets to me. And I mean, she's about as hard as she squeezed, and I'm probably bleeding under my pants at this point. And I just look at her and I said, look, you all should be ashamed of yourself, right? You clearly are the more devout Catholics than I am from the 8 weeks we spent together, but this is awful. The fact that you wouldn't do absolutely everything in your power to help your friend better themselves because you wanted to stand up on top of them, shame on you, right? You talk any competitor in the world, they want to beat people their absolute best, right? So you help them up. If they're injured, you wait till they get healthy. You get a rematch if somebody had a bad day, whatever the case is. I just monologued for like 20 minutes to these people that they should be ashamed of themselves, thinking so little of themselves they had to belittle their friends and hold them down so they can take a step up. And needless to say, nothing was thrown and there was no fights or anything, but a few people came up to me afterward and thanked me. And there was probably people in that room that were pissed off. I don't care. Do right by people means do right by people. End of story, period, right? That was what I wanted to do to them at that moment. And hopefully that impacted the life of somebody there and they went off to change the course of history with somebody else. So I do right by people. Do right by people has served me well my entire life. It's created loyalty and trust. So it is our obligation to positively influence the life of others to impact the course of history. So it's your responsibility to share this with somebody that you think that needs it.